was in church yesterday and I listened to a very fine message from a very fine young lady. And like her name, she was a huge blessing to me and I'm sure to very many others. Now, during the message, she reminded us about our perspectives and how we see things or view things from our own position, from our own viewpoint. Now, it was quite interesting that she used the story of Moses when he sent 12 spies into the land of Canaan, a land that had been promised by God to be handed over to the children of Israel. And at their return, they had two camps within the group of 12. 10 had viewed it that it was impossible for the children of Israel to go take over the land, even though God had promised them that that land was meant for them. Yet, because of their perspective, because of their worldview, they had determined that it was impossible to take the land over. Now, 2 out of 12 said that it was possible for them to take over the land, and that because God had promised them, there was nothing that was going to be impossible for them to do. But you see, the 10 were more in number, they were louder in number, and had gone ahead to state that or to convince others that it was impossible to take the land over. So that got me thinking seriously to say, what is my own perspective about life? Well, I've always viewed things through the eyes of God. I've always looked at impossible situations as being possible, not because I have the strength and capacity to do them, but because I know the one who backs me up. In fact, he does not only back me up, he goes ahead of me to do the things that he has placed in my heart and mind to want to do. Now, I ask you this morning, what is your perspective about life? How do you view things? Because how you view things will determine how you behave. The prism from which you are standing and viewing things will determine your response even to the things as they happen. Many years ago, I had a young man who preached to us in a group, and he suggested to us that the wilderness experience is over and that nobody needed to go through the wilderness to be able to achieve or attain anything. And I believed him. And so, every time that I had a challenge, I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought, if I shouldn't have a wilderness experience, why are these experiences coming my way? And that thing almost finished me, almost broke me to pieces, until I realigned and looked at scripture to see that there were so many faithful people who were determined and committed to their work, and yet suffered a lot to be able to achieve all that they needed to achieve. Just that flip has changed my worldview. Now there is no challenge that comes my way that I do not look up head on, do not take on head on to overcome. Because I've come to realize also that we actually grow during challenges. It is when the storm is thicker, when the eye of the storm seems overwhelming, that we actually grow. We grow in terms of character, our creativity increases, our motivation is on the high, and our escape route, depending on what English you speak, seems to draw nearer and closer every time that we get challenged. You see, what your perspective is will determine your growth in life. What your perspective is will determine where you stand, will determine who your friends are, will determine who you relate with and how you relate with them. So, like the children of Israel who were sent out to go and spy a land that had been promised by God, we must align with the two who said it was possible for them to overcome. It was possible for them to take over the land. Let's not align with the 10 who, in spite of God's own promise to them that they would conquer the land, still feared and told the people, they convinced the people that they were never ever going to take the land. And you see, because they convinced the people, all of the people grumbled to the extent that God knew that they will not change their minds. The mind is the hardest thing to change in the human being. And God knew that they will not change their mind. So he decided to take them on a 40-year journey within the desert. Okay? He made all sorts of provisions, all sorts of supplies. He gave them food, he gave them meat, he gave them clothes, he gave them shoes. Yet he knew that their mindset will not be changed. So he determined they will go around in the wilderness until every one of them died. Then a new generation would have come up and he would take that new generation to the promised land. That was exactly what happened. Change your perspective. At the moment, there is so much hue and cry about supposedly insecurity in Nigeria. There are those who have been incapacitated. And please don't misinterpret me. Yes, there is some level of insecurity in Nigeria, just as there is across the globe. There is a high level of insecurity also in the United States of America. In the last 2 months, there is almost not a single day in America that there hasn't been mass shootings on the street. Yet, because of people's perspective, people's mindset, they are determined to see things change. For some of us, we have become handicapped. We have become incapacitated. We have become unable to do things because we fear that death will come to us. Let me just remind you, whether you sit in your house quietly or you travel, death, when it is time, will come to you. So I challenge you to change your mindset, to change your perspective. See, for this level of insecurity that we cry about, it's a great opportunity for us to come up with creative ways and creative measures on how to solve our problems. The other day, it was a ban on Twitter, and I hear a lot of young men and women going about the street shouting about the ban of Twitter. Instead of taking opportunity of the ban on Twitter to come up with something creative, some social media that will be promoted across the globe so you can make money for yourself, you are sitting and crying for somebody's business that has been blocked in your own country. Guess what? There's no Twitter, there's no Facebook in China, yet they have social media. Change your perspective. This is the time to be creative. Don't join the bandwagon, because you see, those who are negative are more in number. If I type in a negative message on any of the social media networks right now and post it, I tell you, it will go around the nation and return back to me without anybody making sense, without anybody even reading through to view if this is correct or not. That's how the negatives operate. I challenge you, change your perspective. And to be able to change your perspective, let me give you 3 clues on how to change your perspective or how to get the right perspective. Number 1, view everything from God's own eyes. How does God view the situation in Nigeria? My Bible tells me all things work together for the good of them who love God and are called according to his purpose. It tells me that there is something good in what we're going through at the moment. The second thing is that stop looking at people's inadequacies, people's failures, people's shortcomings, and look at yourself as to how you can improve yourself in this situation. Number 3, look out for opportunities in every situation. There are hidden opportunities in every situation. Nigeria's economy is more or less on the decline, but you know what? There are hundreds of people making billions of naira, not because they are stealing, but because they found an opportunity out of what a lot of us think is a disadvantage. Look out for opportunities in every situation and circumstance. These 3 things, and perhaps even more, if you do them, you will be wise. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Instagram on born.to.lead. On Facebook also Born to Lead, and we'll be glad to have you discuss with us on all of those platforms. See you some other time.